everybody, Ron Jaworski here with your Stopain starts and stops of the week. Once again, I want to give you some advice before you set your lineup. Check the weather. We saw last week the weather caught many of us by surprise, including, look at that, Eagles-Lions game where there was a foot of snow on the ground, and down in Baltimore a lot of snow, and in Pittsburgh a lot of snow. That certainly impacted the selection of who you had starting in those games. So check the weather before you set your lineup up in the Northeast where the weather gets real bad this time of the year. So with that advice, let's move on to who I'm going to recommend you start this week. And let's start down in Atlanta with Matt Ryan of the Atlanta Falcons against the Washington Redskins defense. All the focus this week has been about RG3 being benched and Kirk Cousins becoming the starter on the offensive side, but the Redskins defense has not been very good this season. Let me give you the numbers. The defense Matt Ryan will be going against. Washington's allowing the second highest opposing passer rating in the NFL, over 101. Defense not very good. And they have the sixth worst pass defense in the National Football League. So start Matt Ryan against the Redskins defense. And of course, you got to start Nick Foles, the Philadelphia Eagles. He's red hot right now. 20 touchdown passes and 1 interception. Going up against a Minnesota Viking defense that has really struggled against the pass, giving up 29 touchdown passes this season. That is the most in the National Football League. So at quarterback, Matt Ryan in Atlanta, and Nick Foles in Philadelphia up against Minnesota in the Dome. Nick won't have to worry about snow this week. And at wide receiver, I like this matchup too. Since you go with Foles, you go with his primary receiver, Deshaun Jackson. I think on that artificial turf, the perfect conditions up in Minnesota, go with Deshaun Jackson at wide receiver. Like I said, a lot of touchdown passes given up by that Minnesota Viking defense secondary. The other wide receiver I like this week, Marcus Colston of the New Orleans Saints against the St. Louis Rams. And as you notice, we're looking at a lot of dome games right now. I'm staying away from those weather cities where they could be a factor in the outcome of the game. So Deshaun Jackson and Marcus Colston, be sure they are up for starts this week. Let's go to the running backs. I'm going to go with Jamal Charles of the Kansas City Chiefs against the Oakland Raiders. Charles has been dynamic all season long. He's in contention for the league MVP. You'll hear his name mentioned many, many times. And clearly, when you look at the Raiders, they're not a very good team on the defensive side of football. I'm going to say start Jamal Charles. And also, Alfred Morris on offense of the Washington Redskins against a Falcons defense that has been very suspect against the run. Kirk Cousins will be starting for the Redskins. I think he'll hand the ball off an awful lot to Alfred Morris against that Falcons defense. And on defense, my Stopain defensive pick of the week is going to be the Carolina Panthers on defense against the New York Jets. This Panther defense has been very consistent all season long. I know they had a little bump in the road last week against New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees and all his weapons, but I'm going to say that defense this week in Carolina does a great job against the New York Jets. Those are my starts and stops for this week. Stay tuned for my Stopain picks of the week next week.